Hello everyone, and today I'm reviewing the Canon EF55-250 f4-5.6 Mark II lens. Now do note that this is the Mark II IS version and it's the micro motor version, so it is not the STM version. So this is actually a pretty good lens, and for only around 200 bucks, it is a great performer. So you can't expect too much from a lens of this price, but definitely this lens delivers the usability. Now the exterior of this lens is actually not too bad at all. It is built to fairly decent standards, and although most of the construction is plastic, you do have a rubber zoom ring. So yes, the zoom ring is rubber and it actually feels pretty good. It feels very nice in the hands. So it fits your hands nicely, and it has a plastic focus ring. So yes, sadly, despite having a rubber zoom ring, the focus ring is actually plastic, and it doesn't really have a very good feel to it. It has a very cheap feel. So apart from that, this lens consists of actually one UD element, Canon's ultra low dispersion elements, and the filter thread is a 58mm filter thread. So it takes 58mm filters, and it's actually a pretty small diameter for a telephoto zoom lens. 58mm is actually pretty small, and it's actually taking advantage of the EFS lens construction. So despite having a very good range, it still keeps a very small form factor. So it's actually very good for travel photography if you're traveling, and it's actually very light. So it's even better for travel photography. So it's only 390 grams, so it's very light. It hardly adds any weight to your kit. So yeah, it's a very good lens for those travelers out there who like a nice light lens for traveling. So one downside of this lens is that it has a plastic mount. So as you know, plastic mounts are a lot less durable than metal mounts. So that's one downside to this lens, but still you can't expect much from a lens of this price. And again, it has a very nice feel to it. It feels just right in your hands. And the zoom ring is actually fairly smooth. It's not as smooth as quality lenses like L lenses, but still it's pretty good quality. And the focus ring also is fairly smooth, although you do get this weird noise when turning it. I've already set it to MF. If it's on AF, it sounds even worse. And when it's on MF, the zoom ring is the focus ring is acceptably smooth, but of course it has a plastic thread, so it doesn't really feel too good, and it's not really that smooth, but it's good enough for video. And as you can notice, when I'm turning the focus ring, the front element rotates and extends along with the focusing, and it extends a whole lot, so it does lead to quite a lot of focus breathing, and I'll address that later. So for only around 200 US bucks, this lens is seriously worth your money. So compared to 70 to 200s that cost 5 to 10 times more, so this lens is very value for money. Now the focal length is 55 to 250. So on crop bodies, it's equivalent to 88 to 400 mm. So 400 mm, that is some serious telephoto action. So this is a super telephoto zoom lens. It's a very nice bundle with the 18 to 55 kit lens, because the 18 to 55 leaves you off at 55 and this lens takes on at 55. So it complements the 18 to 55 really well. So you can use the 18 to 55 for standard zooming, and if you just need that extra reach, just pop on this 55 to 250 telephoto lens. So it's safe to say this lens is sort of like an extension to the 18 to 55. So this is a very practical telephoto lens to have in your kit, especially if you're doing daytime and travel shooting. but at night this is a f4-5.6 lens, so it's very dark. I've tried using this at night and I have to push my ISO values to over 12,800 and even until 25,600, so that is beyond the usable range on any APS-C size DSLR right now. So don't even consider using this lens at night or dimly lit indoors, because this lens simply doesn't work very well in low light. So 55 to 250 is actually a very great range. It reaches very far, all the way from standard to super telephoto. And the performance of this lens is actually pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best performer around, I would definitely not say it's the best telephoto around, but still it gives you average and mediocre image quality. Now, it's not extremely sharp wide open, but it is sharp enough. You can make out quite some fine detail, and it doesn't really improve much when stopped down, because it's already at f5.6 when at 250mm, and if you stop it down further, the image doesn't actually get that much sharper. And there is noticeable chromatic aberration, but it's not too bad, and you do get quite a bit of vignetting with this lens wide open, but it's pretty much all gone at f8. Now, one thing about this lens is that it uses a micro motor, so the focus speed is slow. It's very slow, and it takes quite a while to nail focus. In fact, it takes quite long to nail focus. It works very good, but the focus is still a step behind. So if you're shooting moving subjects with these, you might get a few missed shots, but still it does the work just fine. It still does continuous focus fairly well, but still it's noisy, and it's of course a little bit slower than USM lenses. Now, this lens suffers from severe focus breathing at the 55mm end, and the issue is pretty much gone at the 250mm end, but still at 55mm end, the focus breathing is atrocious. So try not to do video with this lens at 55mm, but still at the more telephoto end, it's actually very good. So for a lens of this price, it actually comes with image stabilization. Even the 70-200 f4 doesn't have this. So the image stabilization is a great, huge plus, and it actually works quite well. It'll even automatically detect still shots and pan shots. So it's a very nice addition to the lens, and it works very good. Although I will say that it's a little less effective than more expensive telephoto lenses. But still, for a lens of this price, IS, awesome. So there are pros and cons to this lens. So the pros would obviously be the very cheap price, the reach it gives, the small lightweight form factor, the versatility, and the value for money. So this lens is bang for your buck. But still, it has its downsides, and the cons are the plastic focus ring, the rotating and extending front elements, which is quite annoying, and focus breathing, and the slow focusing. But still, if you can live with that, this is a great telephoto zoom lens. So to sum it all up, the 55-250 is a very great lens, and at a very reasonable price, its build quality and image quality is totally worth it. So the reach it provides is actually extremely useful, and this could be the super telephoto zoom lens for anyone, from amateurs to enthusiasts on a budget. So this is definitely a lens worth owning, and a must-have for DSLR owners who want an affordable tele.